Hi everyone, my name is Anton Bukov. I'm co-founder of 1inch, and I'm here to show you a really cool concept which we came up recently, and we believe this could change DeFi in coming years dramatically. So we came up to a concept which we call token plugins. It's effectively ERC20 extensions, which allows holders of any token, of any LP share, anything what is tokenized, to extend possibilities of their asset by plugging into different plugins, which are effectively on-chain smart contracts. So from technical point of view, how it works, those tokens which could support plugins, they should inherit from ERC20 plugins extension, or if you already have token, LP token, or anything which is not possible to modify, it's possible to introduce wrapper, which is ERC20 wrapper and ERC20 plugins also extension. Then what happens that arbitrary person permissionlessly can deploy plugin as a smart contract, and wallets who own this pluginable token, they can plug into plugins. They can add some of those plugins. The only limitation is number of plugins which could be added per person simultaneously. These plugins, they are enabled to track changes of balances of those users who plug it into these plugins. And what this concept gives to DeFi is that the development of those plugins is fully permissionless. Anyone can develop, deploy, and propose users to plug into those plugins. Participation in those plugins is risk-free. In the worst case, plugin could eat a bunch of your gas, but it can't prevent mints, burns, transfers of your assets. It can never steal it because you don't need to have any approved transfers. And users can participate in multiple plugins. The number of plugins should be restricted on compile time, on deployment time. This could be 5, 7, 10. It depends on the token. And what can be built with those plugins, we came up to two concepts. One of them is farming. It's possible to have farming logic inside those plugins. This means, just imagine you have a AMM with multiple tokens, and the LP token of this AMM is plugin enabled. It's just inherited from ERC20 plugin. This means that liquidity provider, which hold this token, they are enabled to plug into multiple farms simultaneously. And they have no exposure in terms of risk. They can participate in multiple farms, and sounds like a good idea. And one more thing which we came up to is one more plugin, is delegation plugin. It's plugin which can hold delegated balances. So holders of this token are enabled to plug into this plugin, and they will be enabled to delegate their balance to someone, and this plugin will store delegated balances. This could work for different kind of governance or any other logic. It's kind of primitives, and I expect that more plugins could be built. I believe that on oncoming hackathon, people could come up to a better plugins probably than we came up to, but at least farming thing is already great enough for this. Just imagine, you can have multi-farming without any risks. Previously, you had to deposit your tokens, LP tokens, any tokens, to farm. You had to trust the farm. You had to check audits. But now, you don't need it. You can just plug into those farms, to multiple farms, permissionlessly, and yeah. So what is plugin? Effectively, it's smart contract with one method. It have arguments from, to, and amount. So plugin gets notified of balance changes of different users. And here we can see comments that from and to, they could be zeros. Yeah, they will be zeros if some address is not participating in this plugin and you are transferring to this address, it is considered as zero address. Plugins, they can track balances of those users who plug it in, and they can avoid seeing those users who don't install this plugin. So effectively, they consider all non-participants as zero addresses. So when one of the participants receive tokens from non-participants, it looks like mint for this exact plugin. And the opposite situation looks as burn. So plugins, they can maintain actual balances of participants, but it will be not very useful if they will just store balances. They can do anything, and what we did in farming plugin, we take into account how much they farmed, and regular farm logic fitted here in this method. So it's that simple. On Hackathon, for example, anyone could use this kind of template and write own logic of own plugin, and those tokens who will have support of this ERC20 plugins extension, their users will be enabled to expand logic of their asset by just plugging into on-chain plugins deployed by someone. And it's risk-free and permissionless. So, yeah. Can't wait to see what hackers could do with new plugins, and can't wait to see major AMM protocols and others to incorporate this ERC20 plugins logic to allow their liquidity providers be incentivized by different DAOs, different participants. It actually does not matter who will incentivize and how. It's possible, and now it's more accessible because it's risk-free and also permissionless. You can find source code for this thing under this cool QR code. It's called AI QR code. Should work. It worked on the screen. Probably it will work on this huge screen. Working? Oh, cool. Anyway, it's cool even if it's not working, but working is better. So yeah, basically it's like 100 lines of code which enables next generation of incentivizations, and not only incentivizations. Incentivizations by farms, it's only one of use cases for these plugins. So I believe we will be enabled to push this concept to popular major libraries of Solidity like OpenZeppelin and others. So yeah, I can't wait to see what developers could do to this new DeFi primitive. By the way, if someone wanted to participate in 1-inch party today, there is a code, but I had no time to include it into the presentation, but the code is 1-inch_token_plugins. So there's no much use cases. I mean, this code can be used limited amount of time, so be quick. What? Yeah. Yes, questions?
Yes. So as I understand, so these plugins, they can motivate some kind of token distribution, for example. So if token distribution is like not more wallets have not more percentages of supply than some amount, then everybody will be rewarded, something like that, right? So you can optimize any metric on chain using the reward schemes.
Yeah, I would say incentivization is just one of use cases of token plugins with a plugin called Farm or like multi-farm, we also have it. And Yeah, generally this means that protocols, DAOs, arbitrary participants, they could incentivize participation in any ERC20-like functionalities. This could be LP tokens of AMMs. This could be tokens of money markets, collaterals. It could be even depths of money markets, because these balances of those tokens which are like under this farming, they do not leave your wallet. You still have those tokens on your wallet and you participate in farming. So this is kind of next generation of incentivization. And the most important parts are that it's risk-free and permissionless. Yeah. Yeah, you can claim by yourself. You can probably use a signature-based approach, potentially. Yeah, this could be kind of extension of the logic. Yeah, one more question.
Thank you for the presentation. Quick question. So if you wrap one of your, let's say, USDC, 1,000 USDC, and then you mentioned that it could be used in multiple farms. So does this mean that this value of 1,000 USDC is being used in 10 different places, like 10 different farms, the same value of 1,000?
Yeah, for example, if you would incentivize people to hold USDC, you could introduce wrapper. Let's use different example. If you have pool of your token and Ether on Uniswap version 2, it's ERC20. You have LP token, which is ERC20, which is not plugins enabled. But you can introduce wrapper, which adds ERC20 plugins for functionality on top of this. So your LP token will be locked into wrapper, and you will have wrapper token, which is one-to-one equal to this LP token. And then you or anyone can deploy several farms which incentivize this wrapper and holders of this wrapper. And those who have this wrapper, they wrap their LP, and then they can plug into those farms and have multi-farming, risk-free, permissionless farms.
Right. So if I understand correctly, so the use case could be, for example, if somebody has my token, and I want them to hold the token, I just don't care what they do with it, as long as they hold it.
Yeah.
And I want to incentivize them for that.
Yes.
So that would be a use case for this, say, avatar token, you know?
Yeah,
okay.
It could
Thanks.
incentivize everything what can be measured in fungible tokens as ERC20. This could be a regular token of some project related to DAO, governance, or anything. This could be utility tokens. This could be liquidity share tokens. Yeah, anything, collaterals, debts, anything what looks like ERC20 can be ERC20 plugins enabled. More questions? We still have 1.5 minutes. So concept is really simple. Implementation was simple, but a little bit tricky. You can check the code. Yeah, probably we will add comments to the tricky parts, but it's like 100 lines of code, audited by OpenZeppelin, and yeah, we're gonna push it into OpenZeppelin library, so they will maintain it probably on their own. Future use cases. Yeah, I expect people to invent more plugins. We just came up how to write farms and delegations, but I expect that hackers on hackathons, engineers of protocols, they will come up to something better, something more interesting, and it's kind of primitive, which enables developers to come up to new functionality. You know, ERC20 have a lot of extensions. In OpenZeppelin library, you could find some extensions. In other libraries, you can find some extensions. And how it works, you need to enable these extensions at the compile and deployment time. But here, you can have functionality which can be enabled later. You can ship something later, and users, holders of this token will be able to plug into this functionality permissionlessly. Yeah, it's extension of token logic. It's about only about checking balances changes. Yes. Oh, QR code. The time is up. Thank you.